May 25, 1941, 3:30 p.m., Galatas Village, Crete. Second Lieutenant Charles Upham, 32 years old, Christchurch, New Zealand, 20th Battalion, is bleeding from 3 wounds. A bullet lodged in his foot 3 days ago. Shrapnel from a German grenade peppers his left shoulder. A fresh round just tore through his thigh. That one's still bleeding. He has 1 functional arm, 17 rounds in his rifle, and 80 men are about to die if he doesn't move. His platoon has retreated. The order came down 10 minutes ago. Fall back to defensive positions south of the village. But 80 men didn't get the order. An entire company is pinned down 400 yards northeast, cut off by advancing German paratroops. Upham can see them through the olive grove, New Zealanders huddled behind a collapsed farmhouse surrounded on 3 sides. The Germans are closing. Maybe 60 paratroopers, moving in standard sweep formation. The trapped men have maybe 12 minutes before encirclement is complete. Upham has 1 functional arm. His left shoulder won't rotate. He has a Lee Enfield No. 1 Mk3 rifle with 17 rounds. 2 German soldiers are positioned between him and the farmhouse. If he stays behind this wall, he follows orders, he survives. If he moves, he violates direct command to withdraw. If he engages, he exposes his position to 60 enemy soldiers. In the next 90 seconds, Upham will do something that breaks every rule of infantry combat. He will advance alone into German-held ground. He will be shot. He will fall motionless while 2 enemy soldiers approach to confirm the kill. And when they're close enough to see his eyes, he will kill them both with 1 arm. 0 backup, 0 chance of extraction if wounded again, 0 tactical logic. How does immobility become a weapon? What does a farm boy from Christchurch know about human instinct that trained German paratroopers miss? Why is breaking orders the only way to save 80 men who will never know his name? Upham promised himself something years ago in Canterbury. When bigger boys cornered smaller ones at school, you step between them. You don't walk away. You don't calculate odds. His father taught him that in the high country, watching over sheep in winter storms. Protection isn't negotiable. That promise is about to cost him everything. He moves. Upham leaves the wall at 15:31. The pain in his foot flares white-hot with each step. He ignores it. 300 yards of open ground between him and the trapped company. The 2 German soldiers are 70 yards ahead, positioned behind a low stone terrace overlooking the farmhouse. They haven't seen him yet. The afternoon sun cuts through olive branches, dappling the ground in shadow patches. Upham moves through shadows, 3 steps at a time, freezing when light hits his uniform. His father taught him this stalking deer in the Canterbury high country. Match your rhythm to the environment. Wind through grass, branches swaying, insects buzzing. Never break the pattern. The Germans are scanning for movement, but human eyes detect disruption, not continuity. Upham breathes with the wind, moves when branches sway, becomes part of the landscape's rhythm. His father taught him something else on those hunting trips, watching a wounded stag collapse in the Canterbury snow. The animal's eyes tracked him with perfect focus until the exact second life left. Then they changed, stopped focusing, became windows with nothing behind them. His father said, "That's how you know. The eyes always tell you." Upham stores that memory. In 12 minutes, it will be the difference between living and dying. 50 yards now. One of the Germans turns. Upham drops flat. His wounded shoulder screams. He bites down, tasting blood from his lip. The German scans the terrain, sees nothing, turns back. Upham crawls forward using elbows and 1 knee, dragging the wounded foot. Mud from yesterday's rain soaks into his uniform. The smell, earth, cordite residue, wild thyme crushed under his chest, fills his nostrils. He can hear them talking now. German voices, calm, discussing fields of fire. 40 yards. His Lee Enfield looks wrong. 3 days ago, he stripped the bayonet lug with a field knife. 4 ounces lighter. Removed the sling swivel. 2 more ounces. Every ounce matters when you're crawling 300 yards with a bullet in your foot. The Germans scanning the olive grove are looking for standard infantry silhouettes. the distinctive profile of a Lee Enfield with full furniture. Upham's rifle doesn't match. A German officer sweeps his binoculars across Upham's position. The modified profile registers as debris. The officer keeps scanning. Upham keeps crawling. In Christchurch, when he was 14, 3 older boys cornered a classmate behind the cricket pavilion. Upham walked into the circle. No plan, no backup, just the certainty that walking away wasn't possible. He took a beating, broke his nose, but the classmate got out. His father asked him later why he did it. Upham didn't have an answer then. He doesn't have one now. Some things you just do. 30 yards. The Germans are professionals. Fallschirmjäger, elite paratroopers. They've been trained in close combat, field awareness, tactical discipline, but they're scanning for movement at distance, looking for platoon-strength counterattacks. Not for one man crawling through the dirt with one arm and a bullet in his foot. 20 yards. Upham can see their faces now. Young, maybe 22, 24. One has a cigarette. The other is checking ammunition pouches. Behind them, through the olive grove, muzzle flashes from the farmhouse. The trapped New Zealanders are returning fire, but they're running low. He can tell by the shot rhythm, sporadic, conserving rounds. They have maybe 30 minutes of ammunition left, 15 yards. The German with the cigarette stubs it out, says something. Both laugh. They don't know Upham exists. For 3 days, he's been operating on instinct burned into muscle during Canterbury hunting trips. Elk don't see you if you're already part of the terrain when they look. The moment you become visible is the moment you die. 10 yards. Upham rises to a crouch. His rifle comes up. The Lee Enfield weighs 9 pounds. With one functional arm, it feels like 30. He braces the stock against his hip, aims by instinct, not sights. The German on the left turns, sees him. Eyes widen. Upham fires. The German goes down. The second one spins, raising his rifle. Upham works the bolt one-handed. A motion he's practiced 10,000 times. Muscle memory overriding pain. The bolt jams. Brass casing caught in the ejection port. His wounded shoulder won't rotate enough to clear it. The German has his rifle up, finger on trigger. Upham drops. The German fires. 3 rounds, rapid succession. One tears through Upham's sleeve. One kicks up dirt 6 inches from his head. One punches through the meat of his right thigh, just above the knee. He feels the impact before the pain, like being kicked by a horse. Then fire spreads down his leg. He lies motionless. Blood pools under his thigh. His rifle is 2 feet from his right hand, bolt still jammed. The German advances. Upham can hear boots on stone, crunching through gravel. Slow steps, cautious but confident. Checking the kill. Standard protocol, double tap wounded enemy, move on. Upham keeps his eyes half open. Glassy, unfocused. This is the moment everything depends on. Human instinct is predictable. Living eyes track movement, focus, react. Dead eyes stare at nothing. He learned this at 15, watching a wounded stag in Canterbury. The animal watched him with alert eyes until the moment it died. Then the eyes became windows with no one behind them. Predators know the difference. The German is 10 feet away. 8 feet. 6. Upham's right hand closes slowly around a rock the size of his fist. Not the rifle. Can't clear the jam silently. Can't move that fast with one arm. But he can swing a rock. Once. With everything left. 4 feet. The German leans down. Rifle barrel pointed at Upham's chest. Finger on trigger. He's checking for breath, for eye movement, for any sign of threat. Upham stares at nothing. The sun burns through olive branches. A bee buzzes near his ear. His wounded leg pulses with his heartbeat. He counts down in his mind. 3, 2, 1. Upham explodes upward. The rock catches the German under the jaw, snapping his head back. Bone cracks. The German stumbles, tries to bring the rifle around. Upham is already inside his reach, driving forward with his right shoulder. They go down together. Upham gets his hand on the German's throat, thumb finding the carotid. The German thrashes, tries to scream. Upham squeezes. 30 seconds. The thrashing weakens. 40 seconds. Stops. Silence. Upham rolls off, gasping. His leg is on fire. Blood soaks through his trousers. He tears a strip from his shirt, wraps it above the wound, pulls tight with his teeth. The makeshift tourniquet slows the bleeding but doesn't stop it. He has maybe 20 minutes before shock sets in. He crawls to his rifle, clears the jam one-handed, slapping the bolt against a rock to knock the casing free. Reloads, 16 rounds left. The trapped company is still 300 yards away. Between him and them, 58 German paratroopers are tightening the noose. He promised himself in Canterbury, "You don't walk away, even when everything hurts, even when the odds are impossible, even when logic screams retreat." Upham starts crawling. The sun drops lower. Shadows stretch across the olive grove. His leg drags behind him, leaving a blood trail in the dirt. Every movement sends lightning up his spine. The fever from his infected shoulder makes the world shimmer. He can hear German voices ahead. Officers coordinating the encirclement, calling out ranges, confirming fields of fire. He reaches a fallen olive tree 40 yards from the German perimeter. The trunk is split by artillery fire, creating a natural fork at chest height. Upham wedges his rifle into the fork, using the wood to absorb recoil. With one functional arm, this is the only way he can fire accurately. The Lee Enfield settles into position. He sights down the barrel. 70 yards to the nearest German squad. His father's voice in his memory. "Shoot what you can see. Don't think about what you can't." Upham breathes out slowly, squeezes the trigger. A German paratrooper drops. The others scatter, shouting, confused about direction of fire. Upham works the bolt, fires again. Another man down. The German formation wavers. They're professionals, but uncertainty is corrosive. They don't know if they're facing one shooter or a platoon. The trapped New Zealanders hear the shots from behind the German line. They understand. Someone is hitting the enemy from the flank. They open fire with everything they have left. The Germans are caught in crossfire. Upham behind them, the farmhouse ahead. Their clean encirclement becomes chaos. An officer shouts orders. The German line pivots, half turning to face Upham's position. He drops below the tree trunk. Bullets tear through olive branches above his head. Bark explodes. Splinters rain down. He counts to 5, rises, fires, drops. The Germans advance toward his position. Upham counts them. 23 soldiers, moving in assault formation. Staggered line. Professional. He has 12 rounds left in his rifle. The math is brutal. Even if every shot kills, 11 men will reach him before he can reload. With one arm and 2 leg wounds, he can't reload fast enough. He can't run, can't retreat. The equation has one answer. He's dead. This is the choice his father never explained. Protection isn't a clean equation. Sometimes saving others means accepting you won't make it out. Sometimes the promise you made as a boy becomes the thing that kills you as a man. Upham fires until the bolt locks back empty, reloads his last magazine. 5 rounds. The Germans are 50 yards away. He can see their faces now, focused, professional, converging on his position. Behind them, through the smoke and dust, he sees movement at the farmhouse. The trapped company is breaking out, using the chaos to punch through the weakened German line. 80 men running south, toward safety, toward their own lines. They don't know his name, they'll never see his face. They don't know that one man with a bullet in his foot and shrapnel in his shoulder and a fresh wound in his thigh crawled 300 yards to give them a chance. That's the cost his father never mentioned. Real protection is invisible. The people you save don't know you saved them. They just survive and go home and tell stories about luck or timing or God's grace. They don't talk about the farm boy from Canterbury who decided walking away wasn't possible. Upham fires his last 5 rounds into the advancing Germans. Doesn't hit anyone. Doesn't matter. The shots slow them down, make them take cover, buy the trapped company another 30 seconds to widen the gap. Then his rifle is empty. The Germans are 30 yards away. He doesn't have the strength to run. His leg won't hold weight. His shoulder is bleeding through the bandage. The fever makes his vision tunnel. He hears artillery, British 25-pounders, firing from positions south of Galatas. Shells scream overhead, impact in the olive grove. The Germans hit the ground. Upham curls behind the fallen tree trunk as the world explodes. Dirt and smoke and the smell of cordite. The barrage lasts 90 seconds. When the dust clears, the Germans are retreating, falling back to regroup. Upham lies still. Can't move, can't think, just breathes in and out. The sun touches the horizon. Shadows swallow the olive grove. Hands on his shoulders, rough voices, New Zealand accents. A corporal from the company he just saved, pulling him upright. "Jesus Christ, sir, what were you doing out here alone?" Upham doesn't answer, doesn't have the words. They carry him south back through the defensive line to a casualty collection point. A medic cuts away his trousers, sees the wound. "This needs immediate evacuation. You're going to Egypt." Upham shakes his head. "Not yet. Sir, you've got 3 wounds, infection, and probably shock. You need..." "Not yet." The medic stares at him, sees something in his eyes, steps back. 24 hours. Then I'm dragging you to the evacuation beach myself. Upham stays with his platoon for 3 more days. Refuses morphine. Refuses stretcher. On May 28th, during the final withdrawal from Galatas, he collapses from fever. They carry him unconscious to the evacuation beach at Sfakia. He wakes up on a destroyer bound for Alexandria, Egypt. His boot is cut away. The bullet is still lodged in his foot. He removes it himself with forceps from the ship's medical kit. His platoon sergeant writes the after-action report, describes the engagement at Galatas, mentions Second Lieutenant Upham's actions, advancing alone under fire, engaging enemy forces, enabling company breakout. The report goes up through brigade, division, corps. 3 months later, in a ceremony in Egypt that Upham tries to skip, he's awarded the Victoria Cross. He doesn't attend the ceremony. They find him in the motor pool, working on a truck engine. An officer drags him to the parade ground, still covered in grease. The citation is read aloud. Gallantry in the face of the enemy. Repeated acts of exceptional courage. Complete disregard for personal safety. Upham stands at attention, staring at nothing. The same glassy-eyed expression he used when German soldiers thought he was dead. After the war, he returns to Canterbury, buys a small farm, refuses interviews, refuses public appearances. The Victoria Cross goes into a drawer. He never talks about Crete, never mentions Galatas or the 2 Germans or the 80 men who made it out. When reporters show up at his farm, he closes the door. In 1994, a journalist finally convinces him to answer one question. "What were you thinking when you advanced alone toward 60 German soldiers?" Upham is silent for 30 seconds. Then, "I wasn't thinking. That was the problem." He dies in 1994, age 86. His funeral in Christchurch draws veterans from across New Zealand. Men who served with him, men who never met him but know the stories. Men who were at Galatas and Malem and Ruvaisat Ridge. They stand in the rain, silent, remembering the farm boy who couldn't walk away. The Victoria Cross, the only one ever awarded twice for combat actions in World War II, is displayed at the WWII Army Memorial Museum in Waiouru. Tourists take photographs, read the citation, marvel at the impossible courage, but they don't see what Upham carried home. The weight of promises kept, the faces of men he saved who never knew his name, the knowledge that courage isn't a virtue when it's the only option you can live with. Upham proved something the tacticians missed. Real courage isn't calculating odds and choosing to act. It's the inability to walk away when others depend on you. It's the farm boy instinct burned in during Canterbury winters. You protect the flock, even when the storm will kill you. Especially then. He never wanted glory. Never wanted recognition. He just wanted his men to make it home. 80 of them did, because one man with 3 wounds and a jammed rifle decided that following orders mattered less than keeping a promise made to himself at 14. The Germans shot him. He played dead. Then he killed them when they approached. Not because it was tactical, not because it was smart, because walking away wasn't possible. It never was. That's the quiet legacy Charles Upham left behind. Invisible courage that doesn't need an audience. Just the weight of knowing you did what others couldn't, for people who will never know your name. The soldiers who survive impossible moments rarely do it for medals or recognition. They do it because something inside won't let them walk away. Charles Upham's story reminds us that real courage happens in the silence. No cameras, no witnesses, just one person deciding that protecting others matters more than surviving. If this story moved you, share it with someone who understands that the truest heroism is the kind nobody sees. What would you sacrifice to save your brothers? Let us know in the comments below.